Hi everyone. So I was editing this video today that I made yesterday and I realized I forgot one of the most important tips. Now I was going to do the whole video over again, but I actually don't want to do that today because it's snowing. Yes, it's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And it's snowing. So I don't want to do the whole video over again. So at the very end, I'm going to add a tip. Also at the very end, I'm going to do a shout out to a fellow YouTuber. I want to do that. Original Dobo actually gave me this idea. And I want to start promoting some of the smaller YouTubers because we were all small YouTubers at one time, and if people are doing a good job, I think they should be recognized, and I think people should be informed about them. And so at the very end, I'm going to give a shout out to a fellow drone YouTuber. So be sure you watch all the way through to the end to see that extra tip and to see which YouTuber I want you to check out. So enjoy the video, and we'll see you at the end. So chances are your Mavic Pro's getting a little long in the tooth. I mean, they've been out for almost 3 years now, and as it ages, there's some things that you can actually do to maintain the life of your Mavic Pro to enjoy it for years to come. Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. This is 51 Drones and my name is Russ. Now first of all, please forgive the production quality of this video. I'm on my lunch break and I was doing something on my Mavic Pro and I found something which kind of prompted me to write down a list of tips for those of you that have had the Mavic Pro for a while and you want to maintain it over the long term. And so I just set up the camera real quick. I don't have a script or anything, so there's probably going to be a lot of cuts in this video, so forgive me for that. But anyway, when I was doing a pre-flight inspection on my Mavic Pro today, and I haven't done it in a long time. I used to do it every time before I flew, and I kind of slacked on that over the past few months, I guess. I haven't done a pre-flight on this for at least 2 months, I think. And so I was doing one today for a video that I was going to make. I was going to make a Mavic Pro for Beginners tutorial video, which this kind of is, I guess, but this is actually geared towards anybody that owns a Mavic Pro. But I found something in my Mavic Pro. It was actually a loose screw. Now, that had never occurred to me before. I never found that before. I used to check those all the time. I have a little Allen wrench and I just checked to make sure that they were tight. And I actually found one that was loose. And that made me realize, you know what? I've been flying this thing for 2.5 years and it's probably about time things start to go wrong with it. And so I wanted to make a video for you to kind of give you some suggestions to help maintain and extend the life of your Mavic Pro, because I don't know about you, but when I spend $1,000 on something, I want it to last for as long as possible. So in addition to keeping an eye on those screws and doing those pre-flight inspections on a regular basis, I have some more tips for you. Now the second one that I have for you has to do with the gimbal. One of the most delicate parts, but the most important parts on our Mavic Pro is that camera and the gimbal that it's attached to. And believe it or not, it's attached by these 4 little rubber bands. And what happens is over time, those rubber bands are exposed to heat and oxygen on a regular basis, and rubber does not like heat and oxygen. And what happens is they get dry and brittle, just like a geriatric knee ligament. And so you have to prevent that. And the way to prevent that is keeping those lubricated. And the best way to lubricate it is not with this, but you should actually use glycerin. Glycerin is probably the best thing that you can use to lubricate those little rubber bands, because you don't want to use something like oil or Armor All. I actually saw somebody that suggested that one time. You don't want to use those things because they actually collect dust, and when you collect dust, that's going to further break down those little rubber bands. And what can happen is, as those little rubber bands get stiff, it can lead to jello-y footage, and you don't want that. And ultimately what can happen is they can break, they can snap, and it's pretty inexpensive to replace that part. I think you can get a whole new part on eBay or Amazon for like 15 bucks. But the thing is, it's a pain in the butt. And if you can avoid it, why not? So get yourself a bottle of glycerin. I got this, I think, 2 years ago. And you can see I've hardly used any of it at all. But just put a little on the end of a cotton swab. And you just want to dab those little rubber bands about once a month just to keep them moist. Now, my second tip for maintaining the longevity of your Mavic Pro has to do with dust. Dust is the enemy of these things. And every time you launch, every time you start up your Mavic Pro, dust flies everywhere, at least in warmer environments. And the best way to avoid that dust getting into your drone, or at least mitigate it as much as possible, is to always use a landing pad. I don't know how many times I tell you guys, use a landing pad every time for when you launch and when you land. And one of the most important reasons is to keep the dust out of it. I mean, dollar for dollar, it's probably the least expensive way to maintain the life of your Mavic Pro, or any drone for that matter. You're not going to prevent dust getting in there completely, but if you can eliminate the dust directly below your drone, it's not going to draw it into the motors and to the fan and to the internal components, and there'll be less buildup. And so use a landing pad. It's really inexpensive, and it's a great way to extend the life of your Mavic Pro. Another inexpensive way to maintain your Mavic Pro is to get one of these really cheap camera blowers, and after every flight you just want to go ahead and blow through your Mavic Pro, just blow out all the air intakes, blow out the gimbal area. Just with a little bit of gentle air, you can blow out a lot of that dust. Now, when I say gentle air, I do mean gentle air. You don't want to use like compressed air or canned air, because that can actually damage the internal components of your drone. So don't get a can of compressed air that you use to clean out your keyboard, because that's just too powerful and it's going to wreck your drone. Another tip that I have for you to extend the life of your Mavic Pro has to do with storage. And this is kind of a no-brainer, but it's something that I actually read about on the forums. And people store their drones in odd places, like in their vehicles, for instance. You never want to store your drone in your vehicle for long term, because the temperature can fluctuate so much, especially in extreme climates, you know, really warm climates, really cold climates. You don't want to keep your drone in your vehicle, and you also don't want to keep it in areas where there's high humidity, like in a basement or other places like that, because heat and humidity are not the friends of electronics. So you want to store your Mavic Pro like you would canned goods for the longest shelf life. 2 words: dry and cool. Electronics always want to be kept dry and cool. So find a place that doesn't have high humidity, and find a place that doesn't have temperature extremes. Another tip, and this one's also commonly known, but maybe not so much with new pilots, has to do with your batteries. Now, you never want to store your Mavic Pro batteries at 100%. Yes, it does have that auto discharge feature that you can set in the DJI Go 4 app, and you can set it for whatever number of days and it'll automatically start to discharge. But actually, the best thing that you can do is when you're done flying your Mavic Pro, don't charge the batteries. Just put it away and leave those batteries stored, you know, right around 20%. 20 to 50% seems to be the most agreed upon percentage to store your Mavic Pro batteries at. You know, there's a lot of different theories out there. There's professionals saying, you know, keep it exactly at 25%. There's some that say 50% is fine. But the key point being, don't store your batteries at 100%. And just make sure that you have that auto discharge feature set for each of your batteries. Personally, I have my auto discharge set to 5 days because I never want my batteries to stay at 100% for more than that. Okay, so like I said, I forgot a tip yesterday when I did this video, and it is one of the most important ones, and it has to do with the propellers on your Mavic Pro. Now, I did find a small nick on my propeller yesterday, and I totally forgot to mention it, so sorry about that. But you should always inspect your propellers as part of your pre-flight inspection. And then the other thing is, DJI suggests that you change your propellers every 200 flights. Now, that's actually quite a few flights, and it's going to take you probably a long time to get up to 200. So they say even if nothing appears to be wrong with them, you should change them after 200 flights. But I've also read some comments from people on the forums that have 1,000 flights on their Mavic Pro, and they're still using the same propellers. So my bottom line is, inspect your propellers every time before you fly, and if there's anything wrong with them, even if there's like bugs on them, clean the bugs off to make sure that there's no extra resistance, which can put extra stress on your motors. So sorry I forgot to mention that in the original video. Now, there's a YouTuber out there that I'd like you all to check out. I don't know him at all, but I've been watching some of his videos, and he does great stuff. And his name is Ethan Mitchell, and I'll put the link right up here to one of the videos that I watched that he did a great job at. He's just got over 1,000 subscribers, and he's well presented. He has great information. So go ahead and head on over to his channel and check him out. I'm going to try to do that on a regular basis, just give shout outs to people that are just getting started. And I think that's important for us to support each other as creators, and also to bring attention to those channels to you guys so you can check them out and get even more information about this great hobby. All right, thank you for watching. Let's wrap this up. Now, do any of you have tips that maybe I didn't mention today? If you do, if you know of some ways that can help extend the life of our aging Mavic Pro, put them in the comments so we can share them with each other and learn from each other. If you got anything of value today, if you learned anything, please click on that thumbs up button. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. And as always, fly safe and fly smart.